Sit tight, folks, because crime writer Mike Volpe and I have a story for you. It's about Kelly Ayotte, the New Hampshire criminal justice system, and the AG's office, particularly as it relates to this man, Gerard Beloin. Now, I'm going to show you a lot of people who have concerns about the AG's office in a minute or two, but right now we're going to talk about Mr. Beloin. This man is a whistleblower. He's a roofer who found that there was corruption out in Hooksett at the school system. He reported it, and they came after him. The same way that Kelly Ayotte, during the same time period, 5 or 6 years ago, came after me when I found criminality in the New Hampshire justice system. So Mr. Beloin and I were friends for quite some time, and then I got the call and the email from Mr. Volpe. He was looking for more information, and you know, I was more than happy to help him out, and he wrote a great story. And this whole situation is just horrible. Now, along the line, what you may not know, but what you should know, is that it's like this whole orchestration of criminality, and the full extent of the criminality cannot readily be determined, because this man wrote a complaint that the school district was being ripped off in terms of the contracting and the amounts that they were being charged for these roofs, and by a lot, by millions. And he took it to Dr. Heber, who was overseeing this issue over at the district. Dr. Heber says, hey, I'm going to air your concerns. Let's get to it. Next thing you know, Dr. Heber winds up dead by mysterious causes. And the criminality is rampant, as I mentioned to writer Volpe back in 2008, 4 years ago. Okay, you see it right there. Now, one thing that's true is that the good judges and the good folks come to the top. Judge Groff, he went after Kelly a long time ago, in my case, when she was violating the law, and he also reduced or eliminated the bail when they came after Mr. Beloin on these charges of wiretapping, when he had these conversations that he wiretapped. But meanwhile, Judge Diane Nicolosi, on the other hand, she went right on ahead and threw him in jail. And she also, as I witnessed her, give a bank carte blanche in a foreclosure action that had no standing, had ever been proved. And then Judge Barbadoro rubber stamped it. Now, what does Judge Barbadoro have to do in this case? Well, it's tangential, but listen. Michael Behan was the investigator that they sent out, okay? Michael Behan found that no wrongdoing had occurred against Mr. Beloin, all right? Even though these conversations that he taped were very threatening, very pointed. So then, to make a long story short, or at least somewhat shorter, you really have to read Michael Volpe's story. But anyway, G. Michael Behan was the investigator assigned to this case, and he found nothing wrong with respect to any of Mr. Beloin's concerns. Just, you know, nothing to see here. Move along. But G. Michael Behan also found nothing wrong with respect to Judge John Fairbanks, who was the biggest judicial scumbag in the world, in my opinion, who was robbing his clients blind. And who was Judge Fairbanks' attorney? Judge Paul Barbadoro. Isn't that a cozy little den of inequity? All right. Well, it was cozy at least until Judge Fairbanks absconded to the MGM Grand in Las Vegas and asphyxiated himself in a plastic bag. But I'm not the only one with these concerns. Right now we're going to go to the recent meeting of the Commission on Redress and Grievances, and they're going to talk about their concerns with the AG's office in New Hampshire.
The fish rots at the head.
Mr. King?
Second floor.
Yes.
Mr. King, nice to meet you, sir. Brad Jardis.
Brad, hey, how
nice
are
to
you?
Meet you, man. I love your website. I follow your work.
Thank you.
Pleasure to finally put a face to a name.
Indeed, this is going to be a rockin' movie today. This one I just it's going to be real good.
I'm a fan of your work against Senator Ayotte.
Oh yeah, she's horrible.
As a former Marine Corps officer who swore to uphold the Constitution of the United States, I never thought I'd be in the position to have to do that, fight for it, against my own Attorney General and my own state agencies.
Redress of grievances in New Hampshire has already proved to be a lightning rod, a bellwether. It's already exposed systemic and institutional problems and will serve into the future to tell us, your representatives, how to make our government the best it can be for you. Thank you very much. I'm going to open the floor.
Just a quick question on the FRM Ponzi scam, the thing that went down. Now, given that was a mortgage-related consumer fraud and it was the largest in New Hampshire in history, I'm just curious as to why you haven't investigated the fact that someone forced my name to a mortgage.
Well, with the Citizens United decision, obviously the foremost issue is our First Amendment under the Constitution, and that was the basis upon which the court issued a Citizens United decision, and I think we have to respect that. I don't think we should be trying to change the First Amendment to the Constitution, and money has been held by the court to be speech, and how you want to spend your money, how you want to invest it, what candidate you want to invest it in, and so I respect that, and I respect our First Amendment.
Is that right? This is, pretty serious business.
Sure.
When Senator Ayotte was an AG in New Hampshire, while she was there, she happened to have the misfortune of presiding over the largest consumer fraud scam in New Hampshire history, and that involved mortgage-backed securities, and that's the FRM Ponzi scam.
Sadly, of course, Kelly Ayotte and her successor, Michael Volpe, didn't really care about the people of New Hampshire, and they're still suffering. Now, this video is going to examine briefly some of the economic realities of her tenure, as well as some of the social realities. Look at this track record, this criminal record of a mother who has custody over her children over the direct protestations of the father. Criminal activity. Why?
In this case, being duly indicted and sworn, find the defendant not guilty of offense charged.
I find it interesting that now all these pundits are coming out in favor of Kelly Ayotte and how great she is, and she's a rising star of the party. Well, how does she stand on the First Amendment? That's my question. Because in my ongoing lawsuit against her, I exposed things that make her want to threaten to arrest me. Now, as far as my background is concerned, I've actually won First Amendment trials, several of them. Kelly has not, and as we're going to see, she in fact lost the Planned Parenthood case that cost the state of New Hampshire $300,000. Meanwhile, she claimed to have won that case, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Let's move along to the economic issues now. So let's take a look first at the JUA Tuttle case. That was a $110 million gamble, lost. Then we have the curious case of the global warming litigation where the AGs in Massachusetts offered her a free ride. She declined, and of course that was a successful case. And her senior attorney told her to take the case. Then we move on to the Taxmasters issue. Dirty money. Taxmasters is being investigated and sued by the Texas Attorney General. But did that matter to Kelly? Of course not. She took the money because she's bought and sold. See, now we're coming into the First Amendment, and this is my bailiwick, and this is where Kelly Ayotte and her friend Mitt Romney cannot stand reporters like me who are diligent and tell the truth. And so, this is a little piece about my ongoing litigation with her that's going to the Court of Appeals because they like to, threaten to lock me out the same way that McCain did with Stephen Price. And McCain was with Ayotte when they did it to me. Now you turn to Romney, okay? He likes to dress up like a cop. Well, back in the day, a few years ago in New Hampshire, he had a fake cop with him, Jay Garrity. And they harassed the hell out of a New York Times reporter. Well, now let's continue on our First Amendment path, shall we? That's the $300,000 First Amendment loss to Planned Parenthood. This here is the remarkable case of the unconstitutional DNA testing. That was a mess, all right? You can't find that anywhere online except pretty much at my site. This here is another snafu and DUI reporting. This is the modus operandi of Kelly Ayotte, never there for meetings. And they had to admit to me that they never had a 2006 annual report. Then, for the coup de grace, this will show you how they really feel about the First Amendment as well as right to know. When sued for the emails that Kelly Ayotte attempted to destroy, her henchman Jeff Craponi said that the whole thing was an election year stunt. So then you ask, how was she on crime and police abuse? Well, as a former law enforcement attorney, I'll tell you how she was. Horrible. This is the Paul Irwin Kish report we're reading now from the Michael Pahu shooting when the police shot this man and destroyed the van and relevant evidence and violated his Miranda. No one was punished by Ayotte for that. Furthermore, the same type of thing happened here in Franconia. A big cover-up as far as Lico Kenny, Greg Floyd, and Bruce McKay was concerned, the officer that was shot. They ignored evidence of the windshield bullet that indicated that Greg Floyd started shooting immediately at Lico Kenny. All of these things were out in the open and ignored. And she covered up for Greg Floyd. This is Floyd's track record. This is the man that shot Lico Kenny. Look how dangerous this man was. Yet she did not care and cleared him in 24 hours. Now we come to the police. Fred Hoysrat was drinking rum and cokes when he sexually assaulted reporter Elizabeth Dinan, whose name you saw earlier in this video. What happened to Fred Hoysrat? Basically nothing, because he's a cop.